because I didn't cover it. And this is really important and exciting. Right here. Remember, if I've done the video already, or you've seen it already, I think I explained, I might not have yet done this. Yeah, I haven't yet done this. In other videos, I go through the Greek grammars in order, but I forgot to cover Wallace. Okay, this Wallace book is the one that I have in hardback. Now I'm having problems with my mouse. It is really, oh man, just a second, there's a mouse. Let's try it again here. Yeah, it's still recording. Okay, I have this in hardback. It looks exactly like you see on screen. I thought this was a different book. You can get this on Kindle, and you can get it in hardback. The hardback's okay. In many ways, maybe it's better since you're stuck with a CHM file. It's very well indexed. Okay, this book is very well indexed. I take it with me to the airport. I have two books that I really like when I have to travel. This one and Thorleif Bowman's Hebrew Thought Compared with Greek, which is considered a classic on the subject of the differences in Hebrew and Greek thought. These are my favorite books to take to the airport. Okay. And it's very well indexed, so the hardback is really worth buying. But you can get it here. Now, what's nice about it, see, this tells you what the features are. Okay. The fact that they have all scripture references, have hypertext links in BibleWorks, makes it valuable to have this in BibleWorks. Okay, not all of the modules that they carry are so indexed to BibleWorks, but Dan Wallace's book is a classic. Okay, he started, you know, he used to teach it, and then he never thought about writing a book. If you read in his own book, he'll tell you the story. That it grew out of his students saying, hey, you ought to write a book about this, and it's gone through several editions. Okay, he writes very clearly. He writes so clearly that you find yourself disagreeing with him violently on certain topics. Okay? That's a sure sign that you're understanding the book and that he's writing clearly when you can argue with him. Okay? I really like this book. I violently disagree with him on certain things. And for example, he likes to poo-poo the attic and just say that it's all, that the New Testament is all Koine. That's a big lie. Okay, he doesn't consider it a lie. That's his opinion. Okay, and he has lots of footnotes, even though that's his opinion, to the older material that stress the Atticisms. Okay, so even though that's his opinion, all right, he defers to the fact that the older scholarship recognized it. What I'm trying to tell you is this guy is going in both directions, and he's not shy about telling you what he thinks. It's a really good book. It's really worth buying. I didn't know I had it already bundled in BibleWorks, as well as the hardback. Now, one of the things that he does, oh God, okay, it's starting to bomb on me. I'll pick this up in the next increment. I can't afford to lose it. Okay, now we're coming back to Dan Wallace's book. See, the title is misleading. They should just title it Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics, which is what it is. Okay, the table of contents was where we were. I cannot, without killing the video recording, I cannot show you. If you were to click on these underlined numbers, you go to the page. That's really great if you're on a netbook, for example, because this is where I have this stored. Because that's easier to handle than having to carry the book. So I'm really kind of thrilled that this is on my machine. I didn't know. Okay. Maybe I had to buy it. I don't remember buying it. It wasn't in my unlock code, so it must be bundled. This is a really good book. Okay, and you know, understand that everybody's got his own interpretation of things. So if you understand it well enough to argue with it, then you know you're reading a good book. Okay, that's what I do. I argue with this guy all the time in my head. The other thing is that the verses that he cites are linked in BibleWorks. So you will go to the verse in BibleWorks. So you can see it live in BibleWorks. And that's another really happy thing. Okay. So that was Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics. And I don't know if I want to dare go to the next thing. Okay, we've covered the Hebrew grammars now. We went to Futato, Gesenius, the paradigms. We did a short version of Maroka, Joaquin O'Connor, and Winegreen. Of these, Futato and Winegreen tend to be better. They're clearer. Okay, you read these guys too, but you're really reading them just to understand how people like that talk. You're going to learn more about the scholarly talking points and the vocabulary scholars use than you will about Hebrew. You'll learn more about actual Hebrew from this guy and this guy and this guy. Okay, especially this guy. He's hard to read too, but it's worth it. Gesenius is worth it. He tends to be really nice and succinct. Greek grammars, Davis is okay, not terrific. Blass is okay. Burton is okay. Conybeare, okay. He focuses on Septuagint Greek, which is okay. That's kind of, Septuagint Greek grammar is different. That's going to be kind of important because there are differences versus the New Testament use of Greek. And that's how you can tell the age difference, which of course no King James only person ever knows. They couldn't read a word of Greek if you paid them. Okay, anybody who's King James only, just know right away they can't read Greek or Hebrew. Once you can read Greek and Hebrew, you don't want to be King James only anymore. You know where the errors are. Croy's Primer of Biblical Greek is really pretty simplistic, just like he says it is. It's okay. It's cheap enough, and you can get it on Kindle. This is Wallace Bible Basics. I suggest you probably start with somebody up here, like Davis, before you dig into Wallace. Okay? Wallace is good if you're already familiar with some of the basics in Greek. Okay? I mean, you could start knowing nothing. He does go through enough that you could start knowing nothing, but, you know. And I'm going to cover MacDonald in a later video. Robertson, you've already seen the taste of the Greek paradigms, and I cover Zerwick in a later video. Okay? But I wanted to say this thing about Wallace now because the other videos I did on Greek grammar, I forgot to cover him. Okay, so now we're going to go on with the Greek grammars and these other people. Okay, now we're going to go through the other Greek grammars. First one on the list is our friend Davis, and just hope it doesn't crash. Alright. You cannot hide the main BibleWorks window when you call up these things. If you try to hide it, it'll just hide everything. Alright. This is, let's look at the preface. This is Dr. Robertson's preface. He's one of the guys who believes in Atticisms. He's of the old school. Okay, so he's basically, you know, testing to the validity of Davis. Okay. Here's your basic structure of Davis. As you can see, it's very straightforward. And I keep thinking I covered this before, but now I can't find the video that I did explaining it. See how he's helping you understand imperfect indicative. So if you don't understand it in your own language, when you learn it in the Greek, you're going to better understand your own language too. So that's a real advantage, you know, because I mean, now you've got the most important reason for studying grammar, the Bible. Okay, and as you can see, here is showing comparatives and declensions. Okay, you'll learn what a declension is. But I submit to you, only start learning this stuff when you're in a passage. so that you'll remember it better. If you use 1 John 1:9, you'll remember much better. You get the Holy Spirit's brains. That's why I live on it. That's why I seem so smart. It takes me, I learn to think 1,000 times faster than a human being can learn, simply because I use 1 John 1:9. And if that's true for me, and I'm not better than you, we all know that, then why won't it be true for you? Okay, so use 1 John 1:9 when you study, or just use it all together throughout the day. Okay, and you'll be surprised at how much smarter people are going to think you are. Okay. So as you can see, this is a pretty simple structure to the book. Okay, this is a guy who actually knows what he's talking about, because he keeps it simple and he hits on the high stuff. Okay, see, that's clear speech. All right, doesn't mean he's perfect. Does mean the book is worth reading. Okay, so that's Davis, and I don't remember if that's bundled with BibleWorks or you have to buy it. Okay, so then we come back to the next one. I haven't bombed yet. Oh, this is so exciting. This is Blast. This costs $119. Okay, somebody at BibleWorks actually recommended it to me, and I bought it because he recommended it. All right. It's gone through editions, and as you can see, there are typos, but that's to be expected. Okay. It's gone through 4 editions, so it's been used by people. Okay. Alright, so he likes to go through etymology, so that's in favor. He's telling you where the diphthong came from. Okay. And that's important. You know, maybe he follows the modern school of pronunciation. I don't know. I haven't read through this yet. But he is going through the history, and that's important. Major vowel changes. So that recommends a book right there. He's talking about how the vowels change. So that makes me like this book right away, even if I end up disagreeing with him. It doesn't matter if we agree with each other. That's the last thing that matters. I don't even agree with myself from, 2 years ago. I don't care if a person agrees with me or not. What I care about is, do they know what they're talking about? You can know what you're talking about and still be wrong. We're human. But if you generally know what you're talking about, fine. Then I still want to hear what you got to say. The trouble is that a whole lot of people don't do their homework. They don't know what they're talking about, and they pretend as if they do. And my video is starting to go bad again. This is really disgusting that I can only record for 5 minutes before I have to shut down. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work this time. Okay, we want resources, Greek grammars. I'd already done a little bit on Davis. Now we're getting to Blas. I said some things about Blas already that made me like it. The fact that you have some clear emphasis on etymology. Somebody's going to spend time on etymology is somebody who realizes the important context of a language. And he's speaking clearly enough. He's limiting his vocabulary. Okay? So he's trying to actually speak in a language you can understand. So I like that. Alright, so vote yes on Blast. 119, it's worth it. Okay. So then we come to Burton, moods and tenses. And again, you look to see it's an 1888 thing. That already recommends it, because in 1888 they had a much clearer sense of how the Greek works. Modern scholarship today has kind of gone in the tank, because it's Bible Greek is a political football. Okay. He's using the word tense. Of course, the modern term for it now is aspect, but this is the old scholarship where they still called it tenses. So probably you want to read this book, Burton's Moods and Tenses. Okay, and you learn the difference between a subordinate clause and a relative clause, the roles of the infinitive, how it can act like a noun or verb, and the participle. And this is really important because when a passage is dramatic, the writer will drop regular verbs and use noun forms. The infinitive and the participle both function as noun forms. This is particularly true in drama Greek. Paul does this a lot, and so do the other NT writers. So you want to pay a lot of attention to this. Okay, and this work is old enough that you will get the old scholarship on it, which you want. Okay, so now we come to Conibear, and this is Septuagint Greek. This is OT Greek. This is important for being able to understand the difference in the age of the language. OT Greek had, distinctive grammar differences, especially the way they use the article, okay, the way they use pronouns, and case endings. Prepositions were much less frequently used in OT Greek. They use case endings instead, which is closer to what classical Greek did. Okay, so that's something you're going to want to study, and there are going to be significant differences. Okay, so then you can read this, and it's pretty clearly written. Okay, he's not using a lot of jargon. That's important. So Conibear is a good thing to have, and I think that's bundled with BibleWorks. Okay, next Greek lexicon, Greek grammar is Croy. Now I got Croy on Kindle also. Croy is very much lesson oriented, okay, and so it gives you a sense of the lessons, and you just, this is another book you can take with you to the airport, because it's just basically lessons. Okay, remarks on pronunciation. Again, he's keying himself to some very clear writing style, so that's in its favor. Okay, whatever position he takes on the pronunciation, he's using a clear writing style. So this is worth getting, and like I said, I have it on Kindle. But in Kindle, you can't read the Greek letters. So here you can, and it's probably indexed to the Bible verses. Okay, so then next, we already saw Wallace. Okay, I'm going to save MacDonald for later. Okay. Then we got Robertson, and this guy is classical, much more oriented to classical. He's also 19th century. Okay, and he gets into the state of scholarship. Okay, but he's got a very clear writing style also. All right. And like Metzger, he traces the path of the changes in the study and teaching of New Testament grammar. So that's kind of worth knowing. But if you're a new student to it, you're not going to want to know this right away. Okay? But Robertson's considered to be a classic. All right? And then we saw the Greek paradigms already. And then we've got Zerwick. Okay, with Zerwick, again, I can't do it without causing the machine to crash, the recorder to crash, but you can click on these to go to the pages, which saves you time and hassle. You can also click here, but if I clicked on the pages, I would hang up the machine because the recording just doesn't like that. See, and you get the pop-ups of the verses, so that's a nice feature versus hardback. Okay. I'm still recording. It didn't die yet. I'm using a different codec to record, trying to see if that's what's causing the crashes. Okay, we're going to now need to get into MacDonald. MacDonald is a very sophisticated thing, so I'm going to cover that in the next increment.